What's going on, guys? My name is Matt, and I like to talk a lot. And sometimes when I talk a lot, I record it and then I post it on the internet, which doesn't happen as often as it used to, but it still happens. But I was just thinking, now that the highway decides it wants to be really loud, that I had another quick story for you. I just kind of thought about it earlier when I was getting my paycheck from work. I'm here at work, but I was getting my paycheck from work. And it got me thinking about something that happened when I first started here. And I never really talked about it just because at the time it was kind of sensitive. I kind of referenced it once a long time ago of something that had happened. But I never really told the whole story, and it's short, but it's still entertaining nonetheless. So, I had been working here for probably about a month. So I had already cashed like 2 paychecks, and it was either my third or my fourth paycheck that I went to the bank to cash the one day, and we all get paid on Friday, and everybody else gets direct deposit, but I actually have to pick up an actual check. And it's for whatever reason, every time that I ever tried to set up direct deposit through my bank account, it doesn't work. I don't know why. It just doesn't. They can never get it to go through. But yet, like, it's not like I'm giving them wrong numbers or something. Like it just doesn't work. And hold on a second. So I took my I came and got my check, and so the way it works, because everybody gets paid on Friday, I work Friday nights, which is what today is. So what I will do is I'll come to work and I'll get my paycheck tonight, and then I'll go, cash it / deposit it into my bank account tomorrow. Fortunately, because banks are fucking stupid, my money doesn't make it into the account until Tuesday, which makes absolutely zero sense to me, but what the fuck ever. I don't run the bank world. Um, so I did that very thing, I came on Friday night, I came and got my check, and then Saturday morning, I had to wait until about 9 o'clock when the bank opened up, and then I drove to the bank to cash my check. And I went to the bank, and when I could go inside in the building, or you can go through the drive-through, but this is right before lockdown, actually. So they were like limiting the amount of people they were allowing to go inside of the building. So it was one of those things where, I just naturally rather go through a drive-through, but I guess I could have gone inside if I really wanted to. But regardless, I drove through the drive-through, and when I send my stuff through, I wait a couple minutes. Mind you not, I waited in line probably like 25 minutes before I ever made it to the person. And I pull up, I send them my stuff, and I'm waiting a couple minutes, and they send me my stuff back, and the woman says, "I'm sorry, but I'm unable to cash this check." And I'm like, okay, that's weird. So I just left. I didn't even really think about it, but I pulled back around into the parking lot and thought about it, and called my boss, or my district manager, and I said, she's like, "How's it going, man?" I was like, "Hey, I was up here at the bank. I just tried to cash my check, and they denied it." And she's like, "Well, that's weird." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, And she's like, "Did they say why?" And I was like, "No, honestly, I didn't ask. I just left. I didn't think about it." She's like, "Well, did you go back in and see if you can figure out why?" And like I said, I hadn't gone inside, so I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, "Shit, I gotta get back in line." So I pull back around, sit in line for another like 15 minutes. Eventually make it back up to the woman. I send it back. As soon as she gets it, she comes on the intercom. She's like, "Oh, sir, I'm not going to be able to cash this." And I said, "No, that's fine, ma'am. I just really need to know why it won't cash." I was like, because I was calling my boss, and she was confused of why it wouldn't work, and so I just need to know. And she's like, "Okay, I can find out. Give me a second." And she does. I'm assuming she tried to recash it, kind of thing, and then inevitably come back to, of course, not being able to. But it came back with some form of error code, And she's like, it's error code, blah, 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 blah. So I kind of jotted this number down on a notepad in my car. I'm like, all right, thanks. I was like, do you know what that means? She's like, no, unfortunately, on this end, on these computers in here, it doesn't actually tell us what the code is. It just tells us the code. And I'm like, all right, thanks. And so I leave the line again, and I call my boss, and she's already had called the people who actually run the money system. So they're like the people who actually write out our checks and everything like that. And she called them to make sure I didn't get like a bad check for some reason. And they were saying that everything looked good on their end, and that, you know, everything should be fine. And so she calls Huntington, because Huntington was the bank I go through. She called Huntington's national bank hotline play people up in Cleveland, because it was like their main branch is up in Cleveland. Call them and give them that number that woman gave us for that error code. And the reason that it was giving me an error code was saying that I had already cashed my check, which clearly I had not, since I had it in my hand. And but it showed that my check had been cashed, apparently had been cashed at like early that morning, and being as obviously I didn't get my check until early Friday mornings, and then obviously since I hadn't gotten my check since Saturday night or Friday night when I started working, and then didn't try to actually cash it till Saturday morning, it was obviously a flag of it wasn't me who cashed my check. Oh, so because of some back communication of confusion of we had people in Cleveland that my boss was talking to on the phone at the same time she had me on the other line of the phone. I was obviously talking to the woman that was working at the drive-thru. So I get back in line for the last time, and I get back up there, and I'm talking to her, and I'm explaining to her that apparently something happened with the whole, you know, the whole fact of that my check was apparently already cashed, and that's why it wasn't working, and they were trying to figure this all out, and blah, blah, blah. And she says, well, the thing on here actually doesn't say that the money's been taken, but on our system says that there's no money that can be taken. And I was like, now that's weird. So I called my boss while I was still sitting there, and I said, hey, so they're telling me that it's not that I don't have, that my check had taken the money, but instead there was just no money to have been taken to begin with. Like, there was no money for me to take money from. And so I say this to her, obviously confused. And I'm saying this to my general manager, who's going, or district manager, who's going, that, she's like, what does that mean? And I was like, I'm assuming it means that there's no money in our account. And she goes, Matt, I can promise you, there is no way that there is no money in our account. She's like, that account pays for every single employee that runs off of our district's branch, which is quite a lot of hotels, actually, like 70 some hotels. So she's like, there's no way that those accounts ever go low enough where that everybody could have taken it with their direct deposits, and that you just somehow, got screwed out, kind of thing. And I was like, I don't know, I'm just telling you what she told me, this is all I got. And so obviously, her being very nice and awesome, she, had me come up to the hotel. They paid me cash. And then whenever I actually got the check to get cashed, I then obviously just paid them back the money that they gave me. And so it all worked out in the end for me in the sense of getting money. But what actually happened, which is actually very funny, but what actually happened was somebody had gotten our account information Friday morning, got into the account, and stole all the money out of it. Now, here's the part that's ironic about that. Because every single person has direct deposit, and I am the only employee who gets my money by check. They all their money processes went through very first thing Friday morning, so practically like Saturday night or Thursday night into Friday morning. As soon as it cranked over into Friday, all that money was taken out of the account and put directly into everybody else's accounts. Besides mine, who had to wait until I actually sent that piece of paper through that says, hey, this guy could take money. Then somebody got on, stole all the money, so that way when I arrive saying, hey, I need money, they're like, sorry, there's no money to take. Now, obviously, because of the way that, insurance and everything works and the fact of, obviously, it was fraud. It's not like we paid somebody all the money in our account. So they insured the money and they put all that money back into the account until they could find out whoever stole it or where it went, kind of thing, so on and so forth. And then henceforth, I was still able to get paid and all this. But it was just that funny fact of like, whoever that was, I don't know, like I see how much money that the hotel makes throughout the year because of I run the audit, but besides that, I don't obviously see accounts. I don't see like how much money is actually sat somewhere. But I have a big assumption to say that since what she was telling me in the sense of that there are 70 some hotels all running off of the same pay account, that there's gotta be a big fucking chunk of money in that account and somebody made off with a great payday. If you like this video, like would be much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to keep up with shit that comes out whenever the hell it comes out. Actually, if you want to see the transformation, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna shave this bitch off tomorrow, which is sad but yet gonna be interesting all the same because it has been about 6 years since I've seen my face without hair on it, so who knows? Maybe I'll like it. Probably not. I love my beard too much. I'm gonna miss it. See you guys later. Take it easy. Bye.